When you say that someone is your dream girl, you try to impress them, right? You don't take them to somewhere where there's no effort needed, no booking needed. That whole experience made me the person I am today, full of grit and resilience. And that I never take someone's comments too seriously. I can say no to a guy, or instead of just going on this date and then feeling like resentment or whatever, like it's okay to say no. And it's also okay to try different things in life.
Welcome to Before We Get There, the podcast where we explore people's journeys, how they got to where they are, what keeps them pushing forward, and where they eventually want to get to. I'm your host, Nicholas Braman, and today I'm joined by Naomi Black. In August 2025, Naomi went viral for rejecting a first date at Lau Pa Sat, one of Singapore's famous hawker centers. Overnight, she was labeled entitled and worse. But her story is so much more than a viral headline. Naomi has had success in multiple fields, including modeling, real estate, and F&B. She's also faced bullying and self-doubt, and continues to stand tall in the face of online backlash. In this conversation, we talk about the rest of her story that didn't make the headlines. Plus, what actually led up to the first date rejection, her dating red flags, and what her ideal first date would look like. Enjoy the show. Hey, Naomi, thanks for being with me here today.
Hey, nice to meet you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. I think, first of all, we better talk about your viral news that's been all over the place. I saw even in Hong Kong and everywhere, people are talking about it. So you posted a story like a month ago about a potential first date you were going to go on, and you decided you didn't want to do it because they invited you to eat at Lau Pa Sat.
That's right.
Did you have any idea that it would become such a huge thing or be so controversial when you posted it?
No, so I don't proclaim myself to be an influencer or whatever. I actually have a full-time job in real estate. So what I post on my social media in my free time is just out of my own interests and whatever I want to post, mainly about golf, about food, about just whatever nonsense I feel like. So I didn't expect it to go viral. It's quite weird. I don't know who has so much free time to repost it, because it was on Reddit first and then it was on TikTok. So yeah, totally did not expect it at all, but it's been a journey the last month or so.
Yeah, that's really crazy. And I think I saw that you clarified later that it wasn't about the cost of the meal or how much the guy was going to spend. It's Lau Pa Sat is just, it's outside, it's sweaty, it's smoky, it's loud. It's not exactly a very conducive to getting to know someone or that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's just that the effort wasn't there. So just to give some context, I met this guy in real life. It wasn't a dating app. I'm not on any of the dating apps. So we met at this beach party at W Hotel Sentosa. It was a daytime kind of party. And then he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, wow, you're so beautiful. You're literally my dream girl." And then we started talking. So I would think, since I'm your dream girl, damn, he better got some moves, right? So he's, "Let me plan a date. I'll give you some options. Let's do this Friday." So that was the week before. So I was like, okay, this guy isn't just, "Hey, want to hang tomorrow?" He gave ample time to plan a date. So in my mind, it was already hyped up. I'm like, okay, let's see what moves you got up your sleeves. And then just one day before, I was like, "Oh, are you going to send me the options for our date on Friday?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, I forgot, blah, blah, blah." And then he sent me the option and he was like, "Want to go to Lau Pa Sat tomorrow?" And I was like, "What?" You know what I mean? It's so anti-climax. He's been hyping me up all week, and then the option was Lau Pa Sat. And I just feel like when you say that someone is your dream girl, you don't take them, you try to impress them, right? You don't take them to somewhere where there's no effort needed, no booking needed. Just go there, bring your tissue paper, show up the table, and then say, "Let's meet back here. You go and buy the satay, I go and buy the drinks." How is that romantic at all? Let's be for real, dude. And then the other day I was just driving past Lau Pa Sat and then I just saw all that satay smoke coming out and it's thick and it's super, I don't know, I just feel, oh my gosh, how is this romantic? I don't know, I wasn't impressed at all.
So one thing, when I saw the news and the story, I myself am not from Singapore, and I just had a gut feeling This guy is not a local, right? Was he an expat?
He's American.
American. So I think, I mean, there's something, I don't know how, if he's been here for a long time, what I've been here 11 years, but there is something about Lau Pa Sat that I think is more attractive to people who are not from here. It gives more of that exotic vibe. It feels like authentic. You're eating outside, like the old hawker days kind of thing. But I can completely empathize that it's, on a first date, you want to get to know somebody. You want to look your best. You want to present yourself. It's not a great place to do that.
Yeah. And actually, if you're a tourist, like, I would definitely bring my friends who are not from Singapore to Lau Pa Sat. Like, it's actually really beautiful. Like, I'm not too sure what's the history, but I think that it's like an old clock that chimes every other hour or something. I don't know. It's done up really nicely, but it's just like for a date context. And we need to remember that this is a first date. Like, it's just, are you for real, man?
And so how have you been handling the comments from people? There's a lot of negative comments and like maybe saying things about you that aren't very nice, about being entitled or that sort of thing. How have you been handling that?
In the beginning, I was like a bit thrown off, I'm not going to lie, because it was so sudden. And then suddenly overnight, I had like thousands, like a few hundred comments, and they're all really negative. So I feel like the people who stood up for me only came in a few days later and stuff. So at first I was like, oh my God, shit, did I say something wrong here? Then I realized like, hey, you know what? This is my opinion and this is my standards for myself. I'm not preaching to the nation like, oh, do not date at the hawker or whatever. This is on my Instagram. And okay, my Instagram is public, but it's more meant for my circle. Like I never said I was an influencer or I was like preaching to like the mass market about do's and don'ts for a first date. So at first I was definitely taken aback. But then I think what this really taught me is that people may bully you online and try to make you feel insecure just because they try to bring you down and for you to be on their level. But I will never go down to their level. Just because you cyberbully me and you say that I'm ugly and stuff. Like, is this what you got? Just because they can't assassinate my character, they try to go for my face. But I know I'm quite pretty.
That's why you got asked out on a date, right? So
yeah, exactly. You gotta have that confidence. And like when you don't seek validation from others, like external validation, and you believe in yourself, that's all you need to know. Nobody can shake you in this world.
And so how about the people close to you? How have they reacted to this whole situation?
My mom and my brother was really shocked. And they were like, hey, are you in trouble? We saw you on the news on Storm. And I was like, hold up. What do you mean by in trouble? I'm just stating my facts. I'm a very confident person. But I guess I get it. Because the way how they think is very like typical local, like very typical Singaporean mindset, right? So the first thing they think like when someone is against you, that you're in trouble. But I said like, how did I offend anyone? How did I say something wrong? This is just basically my standards.
How about your friends though? Have they like jumped to support you?
I think, most of my friends are very like pro Naomi. Like they know whatever I say, it's always done in a very sassy, in a very like Naomi style. So those people who know me know that, that's just Naomi. They don't take me too seriously also. I'm very cheeky. I'm very like playful. And I like to, I don't know, I just have a bit of this attitude, but it's not in an arrogant way or I'm just being me. So people who know me know that I'm not looking down on anybody who wants to go eat at a hawker. That wasn't the point. In fact, most of my friends, when they saw that main story that went viral, they actually laughed and they're like, who is this joker who suggested Lau Pa Sat? Because those who know me know that, like, I'm quite bougie, right? But that's just me. Everyone has like a certain levels of standards for themselves, but I'm just naturally quite bougie. That's all.
And one thing I was surprised about was, I guess, that it wasn't only comments from men, but I saw some comments from other women as well that were pretty negative. Were you surprised by that?
Actually, no, because those women who marry that kind of men who can only give them that lifestyle, like sometimes they're jealous or they're bitter, right? You can't change that. So naturally, they try to glorify or they try to fight for their whole identity. Oh, this is okay because this is what I'm used to. No. Like, I guess all women, they're different, right? But I'm actually surprised that women would actually be mean as well. Because I had some hate comments from women saying that I'm a whore or a slut or using very vulgar language on me. First of all, you don't know me. Second of all, just because I don't want to go to a hawker center for a date means that I deserve such terms thrown at me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, it's just a lot of hate. And I guess, I don't know, it probably links to them being frustrated in their life or insecure. Because, like, why would you throw so much hate on someone that you don't know? Like, it's none of your business, really. Whether I want to go to a hawker or a Michelin star restaurant.
Exactly. So if you could go back, would you still post the story? Would you change how you talked about it or anything like that?
I wouldn't. In fact, I've said some really ridiculous things over the last couple of years. And I'm surprised that didn't go viral. The thing is, I'm just being me. And I was just being very candid. It was very in the moment. And I was like, do I look like a Lau Pa Sat kind of gal? Like, it was very like sassy. I was talking to like my audience, my friends. But honestly, I really don't think like, when this guy saw me in real life and he knew my dressing, my taste, my style, like, how can you just suggest that kind of girl to go to a hawker center? Unless I'm in like a singlet and like home shorts and flip-flops, you know, then okay, fine. You might think that she likes local food and okay, Lau Pa Sat would be a good choice. But when we met, I was in a very beautiful dress, in heels, and we're at a beach event. Like, you would think, okay, this kind of girl, do your boy math or whatever. And you're like, the math gotta be mathic.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you have any other dating red flags that you, like rules that you hold for yourself or the standards that you set for the dates that you go on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Loads. Like, trust my sixth sense and my intuition. If something feels off or not in alignment, I just call it off. Or I don't even want to go on a date. Or if I'm like unsure, I'll just suggest like a coffee date. Because then you're not tied into a meal and if you're not feeling it in 20 minutes, you can leave. I'm not like super like atas or like up there. Like I have to have a proper restaurant. I can also do coffee dates. But it really depends on the situation or who this person is. Red flags per se, like example this, like someone who is low effort. If this is the beginning of trying to court a woman or a lady, and this is how we start off, then I can't imagine what's the runway for the entire relationship or even towards marriage and kids.
Yeah, I think that's a whole nother debate that I see in the US and other places. Sometimes like coffee date, is it too low effort or not worthy of a woman or a girl's time? But you said for you, that's fine. What are the...
I think it depends on that's the thing. If I'm 50-50 on someone and like I think I might want to try and give it a shot, then I would suggest like a coffee date. But yeah, usually I think coffee dates are also like super low effort. So yeah, it's a bit contradicting, but yeah.
No, I get it. And I think the other thing is, like you mentioned, you have a full-time job, you've worked in Europe, you have your own life and you're successful. You're not somebody who's looking for a free meal. Like you don't need a boy or a man to pay for your food at a nice restaurant for you. It's about where the guy is coming from and the efforts he's putting into it.
Yeah, 100%. Like I don't need anyone to pay for me, anything for me. Like when that's the thing, like I think some people are saying like, why didn't I suggest another place? But I feel like if the three choices he gave me, like they're still not in alignment of what I'm looking for, then because I still want him to be natural. I want him to feel like I want to see what he suggests. You know what I mean? I want to see we're in natural alignment. If I'm suggesting a place where he feels obligated to say yes, then I feel like the time where we drag it out, where we really get to know each other, really, it just gets longer and longer. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. You're busy. Also, you don't want to waste each other's time. I think there's one other common dating controversial topic, which is if the guy should pay for everything. What are your thoughts on that? Do you split the check?
First date? Yeah. Hell no. This guy better be paying for everything. Are you kidding me? Like, where is chivalry? Where is all the gentlemen? It's more to act like I can take care of you. I want you to feel seen, protected, provided. You know, if you can't afford something so high up, then just go something within your means.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so going beyond this whole dating story and the viral video that people are going into, like I mentioned, there's a lot more to you than just this. And so I
Oh,
do
yeah.
want to learn more about you. And I thought it was super interesting because I saw that you've been a chef, you do modeling, you worked in Europe, you're very educated on wine, and you do that as part of your projects as well. So I'm curious about what has attracted you to these diverse paths and made you want to pursue the different skills and fields that you have?
It's actually random. So I didn't plan to get to where I am right here today. Like it's completely random. Right after high school, I went into Temasek Polytechnic where I studied law and management. So I did that for 3 years. And I did an internship in a law firm where I was a paralegal. Can you imagine me, a paralegal? What the hell? I know, it's so weird. And I was there for 3 months and I hated it. It was so boring. Yeah, it was really boring. And then at that time, I was seeing someone in Switzerland. So after I finished my internship, I decided to move to Switzerland to be with my partner at that time. So I lived in Zurich for a year and a half. And that's when I did modeling. It was amazing because I've never been to Europe before in my entire life at 19. I grew up like typical Singaporean, never really thought about dreaming big or... So I'm very grateful for my partner at that time who gave me this opportunity to just explore and have this mindset. Like it opened my horizon and my curiosity to other cultures and other countries. It was really fascinating, like speaking to people from Europe, like how the way they think and how they do life. It was very different. So after Switzerland, I moved to Germany. Then I did a German course where I went to Goethe Institute and I did my German to quite a good level. So I was very adventurous like that. I traveled all over Europe. And then eventually came back to Singapore because my parents have been nagging at me to finish, at least got to finish your degree because I only had my diploma where I did my law and management thing. So came back to Singapore, did a degree in just business management. At this time, I was 22 and I was like, still, I did not know what I want to do. I was very lost for quite a long time. And then at this point, I was doing a part-time degree and having a full-time job. It was really tough. My full-time job, I was with Jones Lang LaSalle, JLL, real estate company. I was selling international residential properties, UK, Thailand, Japan. It was very interesting, my first corporate job, where I learned a lot, but then also I got bullied a lot in the corporate world, having to deal with politics where I have no idea. Literally, like you're just a kid. So when people bully me in the office before, I used to break down and cry. It's so embarrassing. But now I'm a bad bitch. So I feel like I've come a long way. Sometimes I look back to the 20-year-old me and I want to tell her like, everything will be okay. That's why I feel like I always give women advice. I'm a huge supporter of other women. I think women should always encourage each other, not tear each other down. So I was quite disappointed when I saw the comment. So I was like, why are you hating other women? It's already a tough society for women out there. So we should all just be nice to each other.
And so you mentioned opening your horizons and seeing how Europeans think a little bit differently or live their lives a little bit differently than a lot of Asians do. What were like the key differences that you saw or attracted you and or made you think about what you wanted for your future?
That's interesting. Like example, like in Singapore, okay, this is a huge one. In Singapore, I remember, I don't know, people don't really have an interest here. I'm not saying all, but most people like to go to the malls on the weekend, like shopping. I don't know, that's not a real hobby, right? I feel, but I can't blame them because Singapore is just full with malls and stuff, right? There's not much place for greenery or running around. Like we have those, but it's not a lot. In comparison, Europe has so many beautiful parks, lakes where people have picnics. People can do road trips. I remember I did a road trip with my partner at the time. Because he's half Swiss, half Hungarian. So we drove all the way to Hungary. It was like 12 or 14 hours. I can't remember now. But we stopped at every major city. So I got to see Austria, Germany, a few other Eastern European countries along the way. So it was really cool just to experience the whole, I don't know, the vibe. And also, I don't know, just like the weather. It's so nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's one thing about, there's nice parks in Singapore, but it's so hot outside, it's not really conducive to being out.
Yeah. And you just keep scratching and stuff.
But yeah, I was lucky enough. I did a backpacking trip. I didn't live in Europe, but I did a backpacking trip when I was 17, 18, and seeing, especially coming from the US where the country is pretty young, seeing all the history and the cities was really amazing. So when you said you moved back to Singapore then and you were a bit lost on what you were going to do or what you wanted to do in the future, were you feeling pressure at that time, like to figure it out or to stick to something?
Yeah, I was definitely feeling so much pressure. And then meanwhile, all my friends are going to law school. Like at that point of time, I just feel, oh my gosh, am I just going to be a loser forever? Like people are like moving to the UK to do their bar. And then meanwhile, I'm here traveling the world and doing my part-time degree. I just felt really lost. To be honest, I was lost for a long time, even up to like my mid-20s, I would say. But I would say it's not good to compare yourself to any other people, because sometimes like the people who do their bar exam or become a doctor or whatever, it's not even what they want to do. It's just them being pressured by their parents and they have no choice. So yeah, I've been on my own journey. And like people always say that I'm a free spirit and a very creative person, but yeah, depends on how you see it.
And then so after you got your degree, did you start in corporate right away? Or were you working? Did you try something else first?
Oh, I actually did both at the same time. So can you imagine I have to go to work in the morning and then at 6 p.m. go to my degree at night. So it was really freaking tough, like 9 to 6 full-time job, 6 to 10 part-time degree. And I did this for about 3 years and was drained. And then during this time, I started cooking at home a lot. I dabbled with the idea that maybe like it would be good for me to go into something where I love, where it doesn't feel like a job. That's how the whole cooking thing started. So my boss at that time told me like, hey, Naomi, in order not to make a hasty decision, why don't you try doing it part-time or on the weekends to see if it's a good fit? Then you can gradually adjust instead of quitting your job and then going to cooking with zero experience. Can you imagine that? That's what I did. So the only restaurant that would hire me at the time was Jamie Oliver. So the very famous one, chef. And then he had a restaurant in Vivo City, quite a massive one. And they're like, okay, sure, we'll hire you, but we will only pay you like $8 per hour. And I was like, done deal. So that's when I picked up working in the cold starter section. And I did that for, I think, 6 months or almost a year. I can't remember exactly. And then I told my current company, okay, I'm going to leave. I'm going to move into cooking full time. And they were all just shocked. But it turned out to be very fruitful. So after I left my corporate job in real estate, I actually moved to this restaurant called Brasserie Gavroche. So it's a classic bistro, French-style restaurant in Singapore. It was on Trust Street for the longest time, and then now they moved to Mohammed Sultan. And there I learned the ropes of everything. I was there for a year. And then, so my boss is French. So he used to work with Julien Royer and stuff I think in France, in Paris. They used to run Joie Robuchon together. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was really cool. And then he had a connection to another chef and said, hey, Naomi, do you want to do an internship in France? It's in a 1 Michelin star restaurant. The guy that I worked with before in Paris, he has a restaurant there in the south of France. It will be good for you if you want to learn more. And I was like, yeah, damn, I want to go for it. I paused whatever I was doing back in Singapore and then I went there for 6 months. And it was like the hardest, toughest job I ever done in my life, like both mentally, physically, and also emotionally. First of all, I didn't speak any French. And the way that they worked over there is very different. It was faster. The intensity, it's just, I don't really know how to explain, but it's kind of like when in like those cooking shows. Like you would think that it's just TV, but actually the intensity is times 10 of that. And also how they treated you was just, yeah, very bad. Yeah, I cried every day because they were so mean to me.
Wow. But you stuck it out still.
6 months,
For
yeah.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah, but I remember I would call my mom during my break time and then just cry. They really bullied me. They were saying that I'm shit every day, saying that I'm stupid, and then making racist comments like, that I'm a lemon face because I'm the only Chinese there, right? So I was really, and I was at the time I was like 25. I wasn't that young, but I also wasn't that old. Still in that development phase where I was still lost, but you don't really know yourself yet. So I took those comments very personally, and it really ruined me. It's a long ass day from 9 all the way till 11 p.m. Sometimes even 12. Like after the dinner service, I still got to do the prep for the next day because there's a lot of work to be done for a one Michelin star restaurant. The prep is just endless. And then also scrubbing the kitchen floors and cleaning twice a day, like once after lunch service, once after dinner service. Like it was really brutal. Like I was burnt out. I became quite depressed. I no longer enjoyed what I did anymore. And I was sad. So when my internship ended, I came back to Singapore. And every time I talk about this experience, I start to cry because I felt like I failed in France. I felt like the one thing that I came to France to succeed and to achieve, I actually failed because my dream was to open like a restaurant one day. And I love the whole fine dining scene, like the techniques of the cooking, where the ingredients are from, seasonal products, the plating, it's all art. It's a beautiful creation. And then when combined with a good wine pairing, it's almost like a marriage of flavors. So to me, food is not just food, but it's art. So like people make fun of me saying, oh, the hawker this and the first date. But actually, if you know my background, you know that I really love food. So if they know me, they would want to make an effort. Oh, this is her interest. Like she has this background. She was a chef. Like, so she would definitely enjoy this and this. Like it's more about going an extra mile instead of let's go to a hawker center for a first date. Yeah, anyway, I came back to Singapore and I was very disappointed in myself because I thought I really failed and yeah, I was sad. Yeah, and I became a very depressed and I became a bitter and angry person. It wasn't me anymore. It took out that fun and that passion in learning new things. And so that's when I came back to Singapore and I decided to give up completely.
So one part I want to ask about, because growing up in the US as an Asian person, you get racism here and there. It's unfortunate, but it happens. But as a Chinese growing up in Singapore, I think it's much less common than if you were then a minority in another country. So how was it dealing with that? Was it your first time experiencing racism?
Yeah, I think it was probably the first time because I think in Singapore, like it's so different, right? Like you're just the majority and everyone like, no, yeah, I never experienced racism before in Singapore, only in Europe and the US. In Seattle, like when I was like walking in the street, someone just yelled out the car like chink and then pointed middle finger at me. And I was like, oh my God, like it's crazy here. Like
Seattle's where I'm from. So
okay.
Not proud to mention
Wow,
my hometown,
damn.
but yeah, it happened. I think it's probably getting worse since I moved away as well.
Yeah, it's very messed up. But I think it's important for us to experience some sort of racism in our life so we can actually understand and empathize like other people. Because yeah, I never did experience that before, but it felt horrible. It almost feels, oh my God, would they do anything to me or harm me just because I'm different from them? Like it was quite scary.
Yeah, for sure. It's always a difficult feeling because it's not anything that you did. It's who you are. Like you were born of a certain ethnicity, right? It's not you being a bad person or insulting somebody. It's out of your control. And it doesn't ever feel good to be hated by somebody just for being who you are.
Yeah, like you're born like that. You can't change anything. On that note, I just feel like people in Singapore are also quite racist, like towards foreign talents, foreigners. I don't know why, but maybe if they had experience being criticized before for their skin color, then they would stop being so entitled over this. That's something I see a lot, saying that people are stealing our jobs and stuff. But actually, that's not true. I think it's purely based on skill and drive and quotas.
Yeah, I think in every society, and especially when things get tougher during a recession or when the job market isn't great, those kind of people will always come out of the woodwork, and people don't want to look at themselves or think that there's some deficiency with them, right? It's much easier psychologically to blame somebody else.
Others. Instead of taking accountability and be like, what can I improve here? How can I upskill myself to be the better version I can be for myself and my future. Everything you do is for yourself, it's not for others. So I wish more people would actually feel comfortable to take a long, hard look in the mirror and be more accountable. It's always so easy to point a finger at someone else just because, you don't want to do the inner work.
Yeah. So going through that experience does not sound like it was very fun for you. Certainly, it was quite challenging. But were there any lessons that you learned from doing the internship in France and going through that whole tough period?
Yeah, for sure. Actually, that whole experience made me the person I am today, full of grit and resilience. And that I never take someone's comments too seriously or never take, anything to destroy who I am as a person. Because that time I was in a weak, vulnerable spot, tired, overworked, young, didn't know anything about the country. So when someone is mean to you and says shitty things to you, I just took it personally. And I actually believed it. I said, oh my God, am I actually shit? Am I so unskilled and untalented? Maybe this career is not for me. So that's what I mean. Like when you don't know yourself, you tend to take on whatever people throw at you and what people say about you. That would be your narrative and your reality if you don't know yourself well. So I guess the takeaway is to always believe in yourself, know yourself so well, do the inner work. You know that when anyone or anything says something about you negative, you know that I reject this in the name of the devil. No, sorry. I reject this in the name of Jesus. Sorry. You know?
Your true colors came out.
Exactly. I reject this in the name of whoever, Like you're not going to let this affect you. That's why when those hate comments came at me, I'm like, whatever. It's like a water off a duck's back. Because I've been through that really tough experience in France. Yeah, that broke me. So anything else going forward, I've never faced such another tough life event before. That was the toughest ever. And that shaped me strong here and everywhere in all aspects of my life.
So you mentioned that you were depressed and feeling bad because you felt like a failure didn't work out to continue as a chef or in the industry. How long did it take you to get over that, and how did you get over it?
Yeah, I guess it's talking about it to people. I think each time when you share the experience and when you talk about it, it's some sort of a form of healing. Maybe you don't know it and you feel uncomfortable, but actually each time when you articulate and you hear what you say about yourself, like it keeps changing. Because after to a point where I kept hearing myself and saying certain things, and I realized like, why am I even saying that? That's not true. Actually, it's the narrative that you tell yourself. At that moment, I thought I failed. But actually, when I speak to people and they tell me actually what they see from me and what they think I am, that's when I also learned something new about myself. Then I realized like, hey, actually, I'm not that bad at all. Actually, that led to my job in sales in F&B. Because then I met my boss at that time. He was like, I run a food company, Japanese premium food and sake. Do you want to work for me since you have this experience of working with chefs and fine dining restaurants? And I was like, yeah. And then it was amazing because the salary was also much higher. Like when you're in a chef position, especially when you're really junior, it was minimum wage. Like in France, it was so little. Like I barely had enough to pay rent.
I'm still amazed by the pivots that you make and the different things that you try. I think a lot of people probably have some periods of their life where they'd like to try something new or have an interest or a passion for something, but not many people take that opportunity to actually try it and to go and do it. Do you think that's from your personality, or what gives you the ability to be courageous like that?
It's a good question. I think it's just part of my personality. Like for me, it came so naturally. I didn't even have to think about it. Like when that opportunity came about, I just trusted my gut and my intuition, and I leaned into that. It's part of also like knowing yourself, right? What is the right path for you? And I've always been very fearless, like never been afraid of anything. And I thought, what's the worst that could happen? I lose the job and I try something else. I mean, life is just full of unexpected twists and turns. Like sometimes you just got to be brave. take that leap of faith. And also, I guess the mentality of having been in Europe for some time, living overseas, and how people and cultures work, I think this also expanded my horizon. So I guess it made me into really a go-getter, someone who is unafraid to try new things.
Yeah, that's super cool. Do you ever have any doubts or thinking about your past where like you might say to yourself, oh, if I dedicated myself to just modeling or to just a corporate or law, that I would be further along than I am now?
Sometimes I look at my friends and they're super successful. Like they've been in the same job for the last 10 years or the same industry. And I did think that 2 years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, Naomi, like, why do you keep jumping around? But the fact that is like, I always follow my heart, my intuition, my gut. Yes, I think if I stuck to one industry or one practice, like a law practice, and then paralegal, done the bar, I would be a successful lawyer by now. But then that wouldn't be me. I feel like the shapes, the experiences, and the different careers and jobs I've had shaped me into the person I am today. And I'm really proud of myself because I don't think many people could do it, always having to restart. It's tough. It takes a huge amount of faith and effort and belief in yourself to get up on your feet again and to try again, to never give up on life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So do you have any goals or milestones that you're thinking about now, either professionally or personally, for the next few years or for the long term?
Yes. Actually, I was thinking to do my NUS MBA, but then I think that would take a lot of time. I also wanted to do my wine diploma under WSET. So it's a wine spirit education trust. So I have the level 3, which I completed in the year 2022. So 3 years ago. So I'm very passionate about wines, but it's just a pure hobby. So the level 4, which is a diploma level, would take 2 years part-time. So that's going to be a commitment, a real commitment, and travel and see the world. I'm actually planning to go to Antarctica this year, December.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Another area I wanted to ask about, because you mentioned earlier that you don't think yourself as an influencer.
Yeah.
But you, obviously, especially since you went viral, but even before that, you have a good amount of followers. Do you find it like there's a different persona or a different kind of Naomi from what's online and what's in real life?
I wouldn't say a different persona, but I would say that I'm multifaceted, where there's different faces of me. And that's not to say I'm like two-faced or whatever. I think I just am a woman of, I have different talents and I have different sides to me, but I wouldn't say that it's like a two different world. The only reason that I have Naomi Black and my Naomi corporate is because I didn't want people, when they Google me, all my corporate stuff to come out. Yeah, on Google or whatever, because I do enjoy my professional life where I'm just hustling and selling to B2B clients and doing that. But then also I do enjoy being social and just posting on Instagram and doing my modeling stuff, side gigs. Like I don't do modeling full time anymore, but I still like from time to time, if there are like assignments or commercials that make sense to me, like sometimes it's about golf related or whatever, then I would do it. Then I still want to keep both sides. But I don't know, I would say that, I don't know, I think everyone has so many different sides to them. You know what I mean? I think it takes time to really get to know someone. It's like peeling off layers of onions.
So you mentioned people find you on Google. If 10 years from now somebody Googles you, what would you hope that they would find? I guess it's not going to be the Lau Pa Sat story anymore. But any thoughts on what you'd like people to see when they Google you?
You ask a lot of good questions. I guess like with everything going on right now, I guess I would, like when people Google me, I would like them to see that she became like a voice for other women, that it's okay to say no and that it's okay to stand up for yourself and have standards. Like never be afraid to speak up. Never be too afraid to switch careers. Take that leap of faith. Life is so short. Do you want to lay on your deathbed one day and be like, I wish I did this and this? No, you're going to be like, I wish I worked lesser in the office. I wish I took that job even though it was scary. I wish I said this thing to someone when, they shot me down and I didn't get a chance to stand up for myself. So I hope that when people Google me and they see the article, it's to give them strength. Hey, you know what? I can do this too. I can say no to a guy, or instead of just going on this date and then feeling like resentment or whatever, like it's okay to say no. And it's also okay to try different things in life. Actually, I launched my merch business thanks to this saga. So now I'm selling t-shirts that has like interesting headlines from, the Lau Pa Sat saga.
Yeah, we'll definitely put a link in the show notes. And then one last question, maybe some hints for the next guy. What would your ideal first date be?
Oh, yeah, I know this very well. Ideal first date is somewhere I'm very simple. I like food and I like good wine. In a restaurant that has good food, good wine, where like the food is well created, interesting, modern, a fusion of something. Could be Asian meets West or something, and then having a very good wine list. I know it sounds very typical, but I just like having good food and good wine. It's not taking me to a concert. A concert could be nice too, but I don't need that whole elaborate, going to, a place where you can smash stuff, or I'm not into that. But just a really nice restaurant, good wine. It's not about the price of it, but if it's done, it's good. It's solid. So as simple as that. But then not everyone has good taste.
Have you ever asked a guy out on a date or planned a first date?
First date, no.
Would you ever?
No. Yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I don't know. I just feel like men have to make that first move first. I don't know. I'm just old-fashioned like that. And also, if he doesn't make the first move, it tells me a lot of things. He doesn't like me enough. Doesn't have the balls. Not enough courage. He's intimidated by my presence. That's already show that we're not in alignment anyway. I want to be with a guy who isn't afraid of me or intimidated by me. I want to be like, oh, she's so amazing. I want to either rise up to her level or to add value to her life, or be together and let's, conquer the world and be a team player where we can achieve so much more together. Not someone who is here and you'll be like, oh, I'm so scared of her. No. Yeah.
Awesome. Hopefully we can manifest some of those confident guys. Last thing before we go, we'll put it all in the show notes, but where can people find you? What are your profiles? Anything?
Yes, my Instagram handle is at Naomi Black with a double K. Yeah.
And you can buy your merch there. We'll put that in the show notes. Thanks again so much for joining me. It was great to talk to you.
Yeah, it was really a pleasure. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too. Thank you for listening to Before We Get There with your host, Nicholas Braman. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Before We Get There Podcast. New episodes are released every other Thursday morning. See you next time.